Welcome back to the Ultimate Firehose. Today we are diving into 30 days inside the mind of Andrej Karpathy, former head of AI at Tesla, former researcher at OpenAI, and currently the most prolific shitposter / deep thinker in the entire AI space. 27 posts, 30 days, and collectively over 44 million views. Let that number land for a second. 44 million views on text posts about machine learning training loops and Python scripts. This is the world we live in now. And what a 30 days it was. Karpathy went from calling GPT training an art project to literally letting AI agents run his research lab while he went to the sauna. I am not making that up. Stay with me. On February 25th, Karpathy dropped what would become his biggest post of the entire month. 37,000 likes, 4.9 million views, nearly 6,000 reposts. The post that launched 1,000 LinkedIn thought pieces. And the claim was bold, quote, "It is hard to communicate how much programming has changed due to AI in the last 2 months, not gradually and over time in the progress as usual way, but specifically this last December." Now, Karpathy is not some random influencer making hot takes for engagement. This is a guy who built the AI team at Tesla from scratch. When he says coding agents basically did not work before December and now they do, people listen today. And the engagement tells the story. 1,500 replies. People were either nodding furiously or typing angry rebuttals. There was no middle ground on this one. 2 days later, he backed it up with data. He shared a chart from Cursor showing the ratio of tab complete requests to agent requests. The trajectory is unmistakable. The community is shifting from autocomplete to full agent mode. And Karpathy mapped out the whole evolution, none to tab, to agent, to parallel agents, to agent swarms. We are somewhere in the middle of that progression right now, and the curve is steep. Let us rewind to the very beginning of our window, February 11th. Karpathy posts what he calls a new art project. Train and run inference on GPT in 243 lines of pure dependency-free Python, 243 lines. No PyTorch, no TensorFlow, no nothing, just raw Python and math. 25,000 likes, 5.1 million views. His words, "This is the full algorithmic content of what is needed. Everything else is just for efficiency. I cannot simplify this any further." There is something almost philosophical about that statement. He is not building a product. He is not shipping a feature. He is stripping a large language model down to its absolute mathematical skeleton and saying, look, this is all it really is. He even put it up as a single web page because he wanted it to fit on one page. One page. The entire algorithm behind the technology reshaping civilization. On one web page. And he was not done. The next day, he went back and simplified micrograd even further. Instead of computing full gradients in each operation, you just return the local gradients and let the backward pass handle the chain rule multiplication. Each operation expresses only the bare fundamentals. This is Karpathy at his most Karpathy. While everyone else is racing to build bigger, he is obsessed with making things smaller, clearer, more essential. It is like watching someone carve a sculpture by removing everything that is not the sculpture. Okay, now things get fun. February 20th, Karpathy goes to the Apple Store and buys a Mac Mini. Why? To tinker with claws, computer use agents, the things that can actually see your screen and click buttons and type for you. 17,000 likes, 3.3 million views. And the best part? He says the Apple Store employee told him these things are selling like hotcakes and everyone is confused about why. But here is where it gets spicy. Karpathy is not just blindly excited. He is, in his words, a bit sus to run OpenClaw specifically, giving his private data and keys to 400,000 lines of VibeCoded software. 400,000 lines of VibeCoded software. Let that sink in. This is a guy who just showed you GPT in 243 lines, calling out a 400,000 line code base as potentially sketchy. The irony is beautiful. The next day, he drops a one-liner that becomes an instant classic. First there was chat, then there was code, now there is claw. Easy. 3,400 likes for 9 words. That is 380 likes per word. The man is efficient with his language, just like he is with his code. But it is the bespoke software post that really shows where his head is at. He talks about becoming a bit loosey-goosey with his cardio and deciding to build a custom app, not download one, build one, to run a regimented experiment, lowering his resting heart rate from 50 to 45 beats per minute. 12,000 likes, 1.9 million views. Because the insight is not about heart rates. It is about the fact that we are entering an era where software is so cheap to produce that you can have a personal app for every whim, every experiment, every weird little optimization project. The era of bespoke software is here. Now let us talk about what Karpathy was actually building during all of this. Nanochat, his from-scratch LLM training codebase, and the progress is frankly absurd. March 5th, he announces that Nanochat now trains a GPT-2 capability model in just 2 hours on a single 8x H100 node, down from 3 hours just 1 month earlier. 6,300 likes. 2 hours for a model that took OpenAI weeks to train when it was first released in 2019 on a single node. And he is calling this getting closer to interactive training of language models. And then he drops the meta bomb. Quote, the real benchmark of interest is, what is the research org agent code that produces improvements on Nanochat the fastest? This is the new meta. Read that again. The benchmark is not how good the model is. The benchmark is how good your agents are at making the model better. We have gone recursive. The machines are optimizing the machines. And my favorite post of the entire month, March 6th, a screenshot of Nanochat running, presumably improving itself, and Karpathy writes, ah yes, this is what post-AGI feels like. I didn't touch anything. BRB sauna. 968 likes, 129,000 views. The man has AI agents running his research lab, and he is going to the sauna. This is either the most inspiring or the most terrifying sentence in the history of machine learning, possibly both. March 7th, this is the big one. Karpathy packages up his Autoresearch project into a standalone repo and drops it on the internet. 27,000 likes, 10 million views, over 1,000 replies. What is Autoresearch? It is the Nanochat training course stripped down to about 630 lines of code on a single GPU. And then, here is the key part, you let AI agents iterate on it. The human writes a research prompt describing what to explore, and agents run experiments, evaluate results, and propose changes. He is running the big version too. The production Nanochat setup on 8 H100s with agents autonomously running experiments. He shares a screenshot and says casually, I'll just leave this running for a while. Like it is a slow cooker. Except instead of pulled pork, it is producing machine learning research. 2 days later, the results come in, and they are genuinely remarkable. He left Autoresearch tuning Nanochat for about 2 days on a depth 12 model. It found roughly 20 changes that improved the validation loss. He tested them, and every single one was additive. They all transferred to larger depth, 24 models. Stack them all up, and you get a significant improvement. 18,700 likes. 2.9 million views, because this is not a demo, this is not a toy. This is AI agents doing real machine learning research and producing real transferable results. He even had to follow up with the GitHub link because he forgot to include it. Oh yeah, I should have linked Autoresearch probably. Classic. And then the vision gets bigger, much bigger. He says the next step is making Autoresearch asynchronously, massively collaborative. Think SETI at home style. The goal is not to emulate a single PhD student. It is to emulate an entire research community of them. 7,400 likes, 1 million views. The man wants a distributed network of AI agents all doing machine learning research simultaneously, contributing findings back to a shared knowledge base, a hive mind of artificial researchers. And based on the results he just showed, it might actually work. March 11th brings a thread that shows where Karpathy thinks all of this is heading. And the punchline is surprising. Expectation. The age of the IDE is over. Reality, we are going to need a bigger IDE. 9,600 likes, 1.6 million views. His argument is that humans are not leaving programming behind. They are moving upward. The basic unit of interest is no longer one file, but one agent. It is still programming, just at a higher level of abstraction. And then comes the wildest line. You can't fork classical orgs like Microsoft, but you'll be able to fork agentic orgs. Fork, an organization, like it is a GitHub repo. Think about what that means. Your entire company structure, your workflows, your agent configurations, all of it is code. And code can be copied, modified, and spun up by anyone. He calls these org code patterns. The IDE helps you build, run, and manage them. He goes deeper. Human organizations are not legible, he says. A CEO cannot see, feel, or zoom into any activity in their company with real-time stats. But agentic organizations, complete legibility, complete control. You could manage one from your phone. And this connects back to an earlier post from February 24th about CLIs. He argues that command line interfaces are suddenly exciting again precisely because they are legacy technology. AI agents can natively use them, combine them, interact with them through the terminal. 11,700 likes, 2 million views. The insight is counterintuitive. The oldest interface in computing, the command line, is perfectly suited for the newest paradigm, AI agents. While everyone was building fancy GUIs, the terminal was quietly becoming the universal agent interface. And he extends this to programming languages themselves. He thinks it is a fascinating time to be in programming languages and formal methods because LLMs change the entire constraints landscape. The rising momentum behind porting C to Rust, growing interest in formal verification. These are not just trends, they are responses to a world where code generation is cheap, but correctness is priceless. Mixed into all of this deep technical work, Karpathy is also putting his money where his mouth is. February 12th, he announces he is a small angel investor in Simile AI, 8,200 likes. What does Simile do? They are working on what Karpathy calls an underexplored dimension of LLMs, personality. Usually the LLMs you talk to have a single specific crafted personality, but the native capability space is much richer than that. If you think agents are about to be everywhere, and Karpathy clearly does, then the personality layer matters a lot. He also gives a shout out to DeepWiki, calling it routinely useful and criminally underappreciated. His post about the increasing malleability of software pulls this thread through everything else he has been talking about. 7,200 likes, 1 million views. The tools are getting better. The code is getting more moldable. The software is getting more personal. And Karpathy is betting on the people building the infrastructure for this new world. He even dives into the hardware side. With the coming tsunami of demand for tokens, he sees significant opportunities in orchestrating memory and compute specifically for LLMs. The fundamental constraint, he explains, is that chip fabrication gives you two completely distinct pools of resources, and optimizing the dance between them is its own deep problem. 7,400 likes, 2.5 million views, from art projects in Python to semiconductor physics. That is range. And we end where the timeline ends. March 11th. Karpathy's Autoresearch labs get wiped out by an OAuth outage. An authentication failure took down his entire AI research operation. His response? Have to think through failovers. Intelligence brownouts will be interesting. The planet losing IQ points when frontier AI stutters. 6,300 likes. And the most fascinating framing of AI dependency I have heard yet. Intelligence brownouts. When the servers go down, we all get a little bit dumber. When they come back up, we get smarter again. The planet's collective IQ is now partially running on cloud infrastructure. So what did we learn from 30 days with Andrej Karpathy? That GPT fits in 243 lines. That AI agents can do real research while you hit the sauna. That the command line is the future. That you can fork an organization. And that when the API goes down, humanity itself takes an IQ hit. 27 posts, 44 million views, one of the sharpest minds in AI, thinking out loud, building in public, and reshaping how we understand what is possible. This has been the Ultimate Firehose. See you next time.